The biggest change I've seen since I've joined the board is that the question has really moved from, should we implement value-based care? What is this theory? It makes sense theoretically, but can we do it practically? So the biggest change I have seen is we're moving from whether we should implement value-based care to how we should implement value-based care. Specifically, we're seeing questions around, what's the first step? How will I be reimbursed? Will the rest of the world keep up with me if I make this change? How do I go about including patients? So it's really just been terrific and very heartening to see the question go from whether to how. What I see as the biggest impact that ICHOM has made is really the convening power of ICHOM, the conferences, bringing people together from all around the world. And what you're seeing in doing that is you're learning from people who've actually done it, who've taken that first step. And that convening power, the ability to bring people together, the standard sets that have been implemented in different countries around the world. And so what we're seeing is an incredible impact from actual adoption on the ground. So the role ICHOM can play, and I believe has played to date, is first and foremost the definitions. What is value-based care? How do we measure value? How do we measure quality? How do we measure what matters to patients effectively? Second, it's the convening power, the bringing together of experts, clinicians, patients, other stakeholders to define the standard sets, to define value, the outcomes that matter to patients. So not just survival, also quality of life, also function-related elements. And then third, lastly, I would say the focus on implementation, the benchmarking, the ability to learn from each other, the accreditation. So there are so many opportunities to really increase the impact. And again, I think ICHOM has been at the forefront of both defining the movement, and I have every confidence, as ICHOM is now well into its second decade, that in the years to come, the impact will only grow. The movement has really just begun. My key takeaway from the event so far is really the nuggets that you learn from the speakers on the panels around the challenges they have faced in implementing the standard sets, and those gold nuggets on how they have navigated. And it might be true that it's unique to their health system, to their country, but more often than not, there are commonalities and common obstacles. And so it has just been terrific to see the engagement around very practical, how do we measure? And I think something that's really come up this year more than any other is the role of AI. And how can we leverage the technology to not just aggregate more data, but to actually think differently about the systematic collection of that data so that we are measuring the right things and really, again, bringing home that improvement in healthcare for patients and for the health systems that fund it.